In this video, we are going to explain how one spell changed Clash of Clans strategy forever. With the most recent spell that was added to the game, we now have a lot more options available to us, both ground strategies and air strategies, which we will cover in this video at Town Hall 10. There's also different ways of using the spell itself, so we will cover that, guys, give you as many tips and tricks as possible, so let's get into it. Alrighty guys, let's dive straight into this video. The most recent spell added to the game was obviously the Bat spell. Now this opened up so many doors in terms of attack strategy. We have the air attacks that use the Bat spell. Most commonly this is the dragons. This is the first attack you will see with one variation of using the Bat spell. With the second attack you will see a different variation of using the Bat spell alongside the dragons. And then for the third attack, we'll actually show you the most popular ground strategy using them Pekkas and bowlers with the Bat spell itself. So if you are new to my channel though, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out. Now with the dragons, what you need to do is set up a funnel. That is fundamental to get this to work. We will be talking about the Bat spell specifically in a second, but you have to get the funnel set up for your dragons. You can see the queen to the left hand side of the base. Notice how she also took out an air defense. That's going to help the dragons, and we've kind of thinned out this top area of the base using the king so that the dragons can be drawn straight into the center of the base. Let's zoom in a little bit there for you so that you can see that. Now it goes without saying, if you can keep the bats, or the dragons sorry, away from air defense, then that is going to be helpful. Try and take down any splash damage as well, because that is where the bats really struggle. Splash damage, whether that be wizard towers, multi-infernos, they can struggle. Now the first way of using the Bat spell is a wave technique. So what you want to do is drop the bats all together at one area of the base, and you can see how they just multiply, they keep spawning, and you create a wave of bats to swoop through the base. Now when would you want to use this technique? It's particularly helpful if you don't have any splash damage within that area. Maybe you don't plan to get the splash damage down with the bats initially. You can actually ensure that you get higher DPS by getting more bats into the area rather than dropping them on a single spot where then they are getting fired from each and every angle. We will cover that in more depth. Guys, all of these attacks as well are by Toxic Rabbits in their current CWL war still going on. I'll be sure to update you on that, but if you're interested in joining us, join my Discord server, all of my social media linked down below, and you can apply to any one of our clans. Let's move on to the next attack using the Bat spell. On to the next attack. You can see again 7 bat spells, and that is common for this type of attack. You want to try and maximize on the bat spells. You want to try and think about where you are going to use them. Again, you'll see a different variation of using them in this one, and you want to think about how many freeze spells do you need. So the freeze spells are going to be used to freeze splash damages whenever your bat spells are coming through. You also need to think about the rage spells. You're going to need them for potentially the bat spells, but also for your dragons. Again, looking at this one, you can see we created a little funnel at the top and at the bottom for the dragons to come through. But it's not just about that funnel initially. The dragons would be drawn up to this area here, and they'd kind of split up. So what we do is bring the slammer into that top area, which creates a nice funnel keeping apart this top area so that the bulk of the dragons can come through. Now we do use a different technique with the bats on this one. I'm going to zoom away from the dragons so you can see this, but this is the bat bomb technique. So what you're doing is literally putting all of the bat spells in the base itself. Going to be happening in a moment once the queen is occupied, once we've taken down this wizard tower. Here it comes. So a rage spell followed by the freeze and all of the bats in order to take out that wizard tower. Very clean, gets the splash damage down. This can also be very helpful if you need to create a funnel for the dragons. So if you need to just control the dragons, get an area down, this can be better than the bat wave technique, because the wave technique relies on you creating that funnel initially for you then to push the bat spells through. We will again cover these in the replays coming up, guys, but that is the bat bomb technique. An important point for that one as well. You will notice that the deployment was rage, freeze, and then the bat spells. That maximizes efficiency. If you have 2 splash damages in an area and you need to freeze them both, most of the time waiting and putting the freeze in after the bats is more beneficial, and I'll explain why in a second, but let's move to the next attack. Right, this attack is fantastic, guys. You can see that we have 5 bat spells and 1 in the clan castle. That's a point that I haven't made so far. Try and take the bat spell in the clan castle, because it's not just the amount of bats that you get, it's also how quickly they spawn towards max level tends to be better off. This one uses the Pekkas and the bowlers, the Pekka Ball Bat technique. So let's show you exactly how you do that, and that tends to be with a queen charge. I love the funneling of this initial raid. Check this out. The baby dragon comes in. As soon as it attracts the fire from these defenses, look, we drop a couple of loons to come in and take this wizard tower out. 1, always helpful to get a wizard tower out, especially with the bat spells, but 2, it creates such a nice funnel for the queen. She's not going to be drawn in to try and get the wizard tower. She has to now come up this way. It's not always just the buildings on the outside. You do have to think, with the queen being a ranged troop, she's going to be attracted to the buildings the first layer in as well. So make sure you get that funnel set up correctly. As she's walking down this way, we want to cut the funnel off at the top with the king, so that we can be assured everything is going to come into the base itself here with the use of that wall wrecker. Now again, with the Pekka Ball Bat, you will tend to, you don't have to, you can use the bat bomb technique, but you will tend to more commonly see the bat wave technique, because you're actually cutting off the funnel with the Pekkas and the bowlers. Let's say we're taking out all of this, we've actually got that thin strip of defenses, look, where the bat wave can now come through, and that tends to be where that's better off. We don't need to use the bats in terms of the funneling, but it does depend on the splash damage around the base. So here comes the bat spells down from the south. They're going to swoop all of the way around. The only thing you'd need a plan for is this wizard tower. If they got that far, they actually have a lot of point defense to take out, but even if they go down, they can still get value and do their job. So you can see as they come across to the western side of the base, there is just a lot of damage here. Teslas that are very quick, the air defense, the archer tower, they do indeed go down. However, they've got their value, and it's like I always say with the queen charge techniques. Yes, you want to save onto the healers, but if you can get that value, even if they go down, it's not a necessity. So yes, if you can, try and save onto your bats. They are fantastic at cleaning up the final few defenses, but it's not a necessity. They can go down as long as you've got the value from them. So that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this attack. We have 2 other attacks to show you though. We're not done yet. We are going to explain in a little bit more depth the difference between that bat bomb and the bat wave technique, which is exactly what I said I would show you. So we do have the clan castle here in the center, a building which we snuck a miner into in order to get that 3-star, but let's move on to the next one. Alright, for this one we have 7 bat spells. Again, that 1 freeze spell in order to help with the bats, and 2 rage. One of them is going to be for the bats and the other is for the dragons. Now I want to quickly explain, because I said earlier on in the video I would, the difference between when you are putting the bat bomb in, the actual placement of the spells. So whether you use the rage, the freeze and then the bats, or the rage, the bats and then the freeze, you want to get the rage spell in nice and early. That is not going to fade away before your bats go through. But when do you want to use the freeze? Well, actually, we're going to use the bat bomb in this top area here. So you can see that there's only 1 wizard tower. So we use the rage, we freeze it, and then put the bats, because that freeze is not going to go away until after the defense is down. Let's say this was a multi and we were dropping the bat bomb right in the center here. You would actually use the 1 bat, or you'd use all of the bat spells, sorry, but before the freeze. That just gives you that extra second on the freeze, and although you might lose a couple of bats initially, it's nowhere near near as bad as when you get to the end of the freeze spell and all of a sudden you've got so many bats that just go down super quick. It might be that if there's other defenses there, you actually need to use 2 freeze spells. You have to commit as many freeze as you need to, but don't forget either that you can use troops on the back end in order to distract the wizard towers as well, or if all of the multi-inferno beams are, let's say, targeted onto dragons or bowlers, it doesn't matter, you don't need to freeze it. So do remember that as well, guys. I appreciate I haven't really explained the dragons for this attack, but really the video is more focused on the bats anyway, ensuring that you know the differences between them, how fantastic I feel this spell is for the game. Like I said, it really has changed strategy because I love to see the variety of attacks we have in the game, and the bat spell has really opened up a couple of different strategies and options that weren't previously there, and that's what I like to see from a new troop or a new spell, just adding diversity to the game, giving it more depth. What amazing stuff. Let me know in the comments, but we have one final attack for you. Let's get into it. Okay, final attack of the video. Again, massive shout out to Toxic Rabbits. 7 bat spells for this one. The 2 rage, again, always nice to have one of them for the bats, especially if it's a bat bomb technique. A bat wave, you can get away without it because again, you're gaining that momentum as you go through. For the dragons, always nice to have a rage because it helps them power through. The queen, the single inferno, any defenses that might struggle. Also for the bowlers, it can be good as well. But notice how no freeze. We only have a haste for this one. But look at the base. If we section this off, all of the splash is down to the south of the base, so it kind of makes sense. We're going to be bat bombing up to the top of the base. You could use the bat wave depending on the funnel as well, but let's have a look and see how Toxic Kenny gets this one done. So again, do not forget about your funnel. Whether it's the Pekka Ball Bat or whether it's the drag bat, you need to use the funnel. Now I appreciate I've shown more drag bat attacks on this one, but it really does highlight the different variations. With the Pekka Ball Bat, more commonly you will see the bat wave technique. So we use the king down at the bottom here. As actually does draw out the CC. The queen's going to step up, hoping to get this air defense. Again, if you're using the heroes to funnel, suicide heroes, try your best if you can in order to use the queen's reach to your advantage. Doesn't get it down, but look at how he basically corrects this. Uses an archer over to the left to pull that hound out the way, so it's not going to affect the dragons. As they come through though, they get into this area and take the splash damage straight down. Queen down as well, she can do massive damage onto the bats as well, and in they come from this top area. Now basically we're trying to get them air defense down and distracted before they get onto the dragons. I think that's why Toxic Kenny used the bat bomb technique here rather than the bat wave sweeping in from one side and through. Could have done that, but the timing, getting it right between the dragons attracting the fire of the wizard towers and the bats taking down the air defense would have been difficult. So again, it really does just depend on when you can time them both together, and the slammer is a fantastic siege to use with the drag bat. You've seen that there, especially when you pop them loons out. The haste, which Kenny used in this attack, can be fantastic to again just get on top of them defenses, create that funnel. Beautiful stuff. Guys, at the end of this video I am going to link up for you my guide for the drag bat. We break it down, use a couple of my attacks, tell you exactly how to get it done, so be sure to watch that now. And if you do want to see any of my other Town Hall 10 attacks, I do have a playlist on my YouTube homepage. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that notification bell. But that is going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Until next time, peace out.